I'm Grace Helbig here with 24 seconds of climate reality. Did you know that our health is improved by using clean energy? Fossil fuels like coal pollute our air, water, and soil, and can cause potentially deadly diseases. Renewable energy is a lot easier on our land and our bodies. And that's 24 seconds that can change the world.
What can change in a day? A solar array can power a community. A business can embrace clean technology. A nation can vote to reduce carbon pollution. Around the world, every day, people are taking action to fight climate change, enacting real solutions, and already seeing the benefits. Join us as we travel on a journey of progress around the world, exploring the path toward a better, cleaner future for all of us, and how you can help create it. What can change in a day? Our future. This is 24 Hours of Reality. 24 Reasons for Hope.
Typhoon King here in hour 15 of our 24 Hours of Reality, 24 Reasons of Hope. I'm here to tell you that not only do clean energy solutions exist, but that we are already seeing the benefits of adopting policies that protect the environment. Shifting away from toxic energy sources like coal or risky ventures like deep-sea drilling improves public health by removing pollutants that lead to disease and death. When people understand that clean energy means a reduction in lung ailments, healthier and cleaner oceans, and improvements in public health, we can see that we need to keep making change happen. And the person about to join us has committed his life to that change. He has used his talents and position as a statesman, leader, and climate policy expert to spark positive developments around the world with the Climate Reality Project and so many other ventures. Please welcome the man who has done so much to make his cause of a healthy and sustainable climate our cause. Former Vice President Al Gore.
Thank you very much and welcome everyone to hour 15 and the 15th reason for hope and optimism. Clean energy is obviously good for the planet. It helps to solve the climate crisis, but it's also good for human health. By reducing our dependence on dirty and dangerous fossil fuels, we improve the quality of the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soils in which we grow our food. As a result, the lives and livelihoods of billions of people all around the world are improved. So as we make progress toward the development of a clean energy infrastructure, we will have the opportunity to live longer and healthier lives. The consequences of the alternative, continued dependence on dirty fossil fuels, are already painfully clear. Good health and renewable energy go together. So, reason 15 for hope. Public health is improved by using clean energy. We already can see the collateral damage being done to the health of human beings, including children, with the massive coal burning in China. There has already been a reduction of life expectancy in northern China by an average of 5.5 years, just as a result of all of the pollution that comes primarily from burning coal. We have seen the Shanghai Academy of Social Sciences earlier this year make an incredible statement that the pollution index in Beijing had neared extreme levels and therefore is near a level that is no longer livable for human beings. Wow. Anybody who has been to Beijing or Shanghai and several of the other cities in China has had the opportunity to witness days in which visibility is very, very low. And the effect on your lungs is such that many people who live and work there, if they can leave, some of them are taking advantage of the opportunity to move away. Some businesses are relocating their headquarters and their families away from these heavily polluted cities. That also has an economic cost, but the health cost for the people who have to bear up under that air pollution is really quite extreme. So this report that just came out yesterday at the UN, the Calderon Commission, noted that in the 15 countries with the highest emissions of global warming pollution, the damage to health from poor air quality, largely associated with the burning of fossil fuels, that's in their words, is valued at an average of 4.4% of GDP. That's incredible. That is a huge number. The economic damage coming from the health impacts of continued over-reliance on dirty and dangerous fossil fuels can be reduced with this revolution in the availability and affordability of renewable energy. Death by power plant. These are health statistics from the United States that show the health impact of living near an existing power plant. And here are the plants with more than 15 million metric tons of CO2 being emitted each year. It's not the CO2 that is causing the health impacts. The CO2 causes the impacts to the planet as a whole. The climate crisis, that's the main cause. But the collateral air pollution flows that come as the CO2 is released cause these incredibly dangerous health impacts. This is a look at global deaths due to air pollution. Now, I want to show you a really unique, unplanned experiment. It involves air pollution and health. And it took place a few years ago in the area around Salt Lake City, Utah. Now, this was not the emissions from a coal plant. This happened to be a steel plant, but the particulate matter polluted into the air looked like this during 1985 and 1986. For a considerable period in the midst of this time, the plant was shut down, and the particulates that made up the air pollution in this area went way down. Were there any measurable health consequences? Well, let's look at these same 3 periods of time: before the plant shut down, while the plant was shut down, and after it started back up. Okay, here are the admissions to the hospital for bronchitis and asthma. And you can see the emissions to the hospital dropped dramatically at exactly the same time that the emissions of these particulates dropped. Similarly, for pneumonia and pleurisy, the pattern is identical. So if there was a TV show called CSI Climate and Health, this would be a fingerprint that showed the connection between air pollution and poor health. In fact, in the United States as a whole, going back now to focus particularly on the burning of coal, the biggest source of air pollution, coal use, including the extraction and the burning of coal, costs the United States every single year in health costs $261 billion. It really is quite incredible. This is a Harvard University medical school study. The amount of mercury that is near the surface of many of the world's oceans has tripled as a result of human pollution, principally from the burning of coal. Now, earlier we saw a film that featured one of our field reports that featured the consequences of reliance on these dirty and inefficient indoor cook stoves that create a lot of indoor air pollution. Here are the statistics showing that around 3 billion people cook and heat their homes using these open fires and organic material, and over 4 million people die prematurely every single year from illnesses directly attributed to these open, inefficient cook stoves. And children make up more than 50% of the premature deaths. More than 50% of the premature deaths among children under 5 are due to the pneumonia caused by the soot that comes from the burning of this cooking fuel in an inefficient way. By contrast, the clean cook stoves, and you saw a bit about this in the field report, have reduced toxic emissions by up to 80% and have saved many thousands of lives. Better yet, the solar cookers that are now increasingly available emit no pollution whatsoever. And the designs are improving. There is a competition to come up with even better designs. Here is one being used in Tibet. This is a hospital powered by solar energy in Nepal. There are 6 health clinics in western Nepal now powered by solar energy, and they have round-the-clock electricity. So the health benefits of switching to renewable energy come not only in the form of reducing the illnesses associated with the air pollution that comes from excessive burning of coal and other carbon-based fuels, it also creates benefits by making health care more available with clinics like this one. Here is a solar-powered clinic in Bangladesh. It also doubles as a school. Now, let's go back for a moment to consider what this means, this major report that came out yesterday from the UN, linking the extremely high cost of health impacts from the burning of fuels that also result in the release of all these greenhouse gases. It's not just air pollution. It is also water pollution. It is also the pollution of food crops, because when the mercury and cadmium and other air pollutants that come from the burning of coal settle on the croplands, the plants pull these toxic poisons up from the soil through their root system into the plant, and they are consumed by people. This is an extremely serious health matter that can be solved. And the good news, again, the reason for hope in this 15th hour, is that we can improve health outcomes, and we can save thousands of lives by switching to solar electricity and wind electricity and the whole panoply of renewable energy technologies. This is yet another collateral benefit. Here is a hospital in the United States that is now being powered in a significant way by solar panels. So this reason for hope is one that has benefits for people in the developed, wealthy countries, as well as in the developing countries around the world. And after all, saving lives, particularly saving lives of children, is also one of the ways to help stabilize the rate of population increase, simply because human nature is such, this has long been understood, that when children survive at a much higher rate, the natural preference in most families is to have smaller families. So reducing child mortality and improving child and maternal health is one of the ways to effect the demographic transition, the so-called demographic transition, which takes the world from a pattern of large families with high death rates and then high birth rates, down to another pattern characterized by small families, preferred by most, when they have their own free choice, with low death rates and low birth rates. So an African leader, Julius K. Nyerere, said almost 70 years ago, the most powerful contraceptive in the world is the confidence by parents that their children will survive. So this is a virtuous circle. When we get off of dirty fossil fuels, embrace renewable energy, we improve health outcomes. When we improve health outcomes, we give families the opportunity to make the kinds of choices they typically wish to make, and then we empower nations to have a more sustainable pathway into the future. So the improvement of health outcomes by a much wider use of renewable energy has many collateral benefits. And when you look at the overall pattern of all the benefits from embracing the renewable revolution, it's easy to see how this is the 15th reason for hope.
Thank you, Mr. Gore, for making such a clear and persuasive push for change and helping bring about better public health by taking on climate disruption. But to make this vision of a healthier planet a reality, we must act, not just collectively, but individually. So let's get engaged with the quest for a healthier, more sustainable world. Join with the tens of thousands who've pledged with Climate Reality Project that they will set a day to take action. To put yourselves on the side of new ideas and hope for the future. This is our moment. And I know I want to be a part of it, even if it's tough. So let's stand up and stop climate change. It's time to turn the solutions we have into the clean energy future we want. So I'm dedicating a day to doing my part. What can change in a day? With millions standing up together, everything can. Go to 24hoursofreality.org to dedicate a day to climate action. The impacts of climate change have quickly become visible and devastating. More drought, more flooding, more severe storms are taking a toll on communities and economies around the world. As they do, it is more important than ever to understand that this challenge is not too great to address. In fact, solutions exist today. Let's take a look at the good news as a reminder that we can solve the climate crisis when we all act together.
Carbon dioxide has reached levels not seen in millions of years.
Climate change is here and getting worse.
Extreme weather has wrought havoc all over the world.
It's happening here and now.
We are running out of
damage by the water.
So there's been a lot of news about climate change. A lot of bad news, that is. And for the good news?
Right.
Well, there hasn't really been any. Until recently. Today we're facing the hard truth of climate change with the stubborn relentlessness of human will. And good news is happening.
Right. And now for some good news.
Every day, new solutions are emerging. And not just wouldn't it be neat if solutions, real solutions. Our ability to convert sunshine into usable energy is rapidly becoming more advanced and accessible. Which is great because every hour the sun is sending enough raw energy to Earth to meet the entire world's energy demands for a full year. And the cost for clean energy technologies is dropping. Right now, the cost of solar energy is equal to or cheaper than fossil fuel energy in about 79 countries.
I didn't even know there were 79 countries.
And the electric car market is booming thanks to falling battery prices. And guess who likes that?
Who?
All types of people from around the world are starting to embrace renewable solutions. Schools are being powered by clean energy. Financial institutions are realizing dirty energy is a bad investment. And businesses are finding that going green is good for the bottom line. Which leads us to more good news. These solutions are actually working. It turns out that what is good for the environment is also good for the economy in many ways, like reducing poverty, spurring innovation and creating jobs. In 2013, nearly 6.5 million people were employed globally by the renewable energy industry.
Job creation. Brilliant.
Right. And while other industries are shrinking, renewables are growing as new technologies and capabilities are being rapidly discovered.
And here's some more great news.
This groundswell of support for renewable energy is forcing leaders and governments to take action. The two biggest carbon emitters, China and the US, have made moves to curb their carbon pollution and invest in cleaner energy technologies. And they're not alone. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is convening nations to forge a climate treaty that could unify the world to work together and lower our carbon emissions, transitioning us to a global clean energy society. We all know the bad news. Climate change is here. It's big, it's bad, and it's hurting us and our economies. But the important thing to know is that there is also good news. We have solutions here today, not dreams or wishes, real-world solutions that are ready to go and that are already saving money and improving lives.
Everyone's a winner.
If we rally around this good news and embrace solutions, we can forge the path to a clean energy future and make sure that progress is our new reality.
That's good news. Thank you for watching.
Believe it or not, the simple act of cooking is a health issue for billions of people around the world. Cooking on open fires and rudimentary stoves blackens the air, creating all manner of health problems, while it also forces villagers to deplete their surrounding forests for fuel. In this report from the field, we profile an organization dedicated to improving people's lives with a simple technology that can also help the health of the planet.
Nearly half the world's population still cooks over an open fire. Annually, there are 4 million deaths as a result of exposure to cook stove smoke. This makes it the 4th largest cause of death worldwide. Most of the victims are women and children. The organization I lead, the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves, is working to ensure that 100 million households adopt cleaner and more efficient stoves and fuels by the year 2020. Collectively, our 1,000 partners around the world are ensuring that women have more efficient and cleaner stove and fuel choices, which will enhance the health of their children and loved ones. These options are more fuel and time efficient, allowing us to protect our natural environment and provide women with more time to do so as they please. I'd like you to now hear firsthand from 3 women whose lives have been transformed by the use of cleaner cook stoves and fuels.
My name is Sarah Ruba. I was young when my mother died, and one of my sisters died of lung cancer. Sometimes I ask myself, what is my life about? I've seen terrible things. There are still scars most anywhere you look. The bush where we used to play hide and seek, the drought has destroyed it. The smoke from cooking affects us. The old stoves, that is just the way they are. They make this world black. They also make us black inside. But this new stove, look at this with your eyes. I learned of this clean cook stove 2 years ago. There is less smoke, and it uses much less fuel. The firewood I used in a week, it now lasts for a month. There was nothing good or enjoyable going for firewood. There are so many things we can do now instead. We can help our children in school, visit our elders, or help the sick. I even set up a shop to improve myself. I want to pass on something better to my children, so they are safe, so they have opportunities. If it was my wish, everyone would have a clean cook stove. To one who has seen this hard life, It is difficult to explain why things are this way. But this is my life, and I have every reason to be happy.
I love the greenery here. I love when the mustard blooms. Our language may be different, our lives may be different, and other women may not understand things about our lives. But I think there are things where we are similar. I want to prepare my children for the future. I want to have a happy family, and I'm close to my parents and relatives. There are challenges here. We have electricity problems, and there are not enough jobs. But things are better than in my younger days. I used to cook on a traditional mud stove. Everything was black. The pots were black, the air was black. It was impossible to clean things. For 10 or 12 years, that's how I cooked. It was very difficult for my children. It was so smoky that children could not even do schoolwork inside the house. I used to get sick and cough all the time. My eyes hurt from the smoke, and I had trouble breathing. Now, I won't even let my daughter cook with an old stove. This new one, what more could you hope for from something? I've used it now for almost 2 years. It uses less fuel, and it cooks faster. There is less smoke, and our food tastes better. Saving time and saving money. This is a very big thing. I can use that time in other ways. The women in this community, we want to start something. Something to generate income or to help others. Something that shows that we matter. I am Vandana Dubey.
My name is Monica Sebastian. We are farmers. I wake up early, my husband goes to the fields, and I do my own chores. Then I work as much as I can. The days go in this way. This is what we do, but I am thankful. I'm not able to give my children many things, but I help them with their education. And work to keep them in good health. These are the best gifts I could ever give them. I used to cook on a traditional stove. My hands were like grease. You couldn't wash it away. Fire would come up through the holes, and I get burned. Blackness was everywhere, on every wall, the pots, even the ceilings. My children were always sick, and it was a far walk to find a clinic, but that was our life. What could anyone do about it? I didn't believe a new stove would make much of a difference. I thought they'd be expensive and not work as well. Then someone visited our town and taught us about the new stoves. Now, most of the village uses them. The black is gone, our skin is not greasy. Even the pots are finally clean. The whole town, all the women, we got together and we painted our kitchens. This was the first time anyone could remember doing this. You look around you. Where it was black, now there is color, and it's everywhere. I feel healthier, and my children, they are no longer sick. And it is amazing how our lives have changed. We work every day in the fields and the land, and we are happy.
Sarah, Vandana, and Monica each have their own unique life circumstances, dreams, and aspirations. Cleaner cook stoves and fuels have dramatically changed their lives, those of their families, and communities. The Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves has strengthened markets over the last few years to ensure that cleaner and more efficient stoves and fuels are available, so that these stories are now being heard in 20 million households around the world. Over the next few years, we hope to triple this number to 60 million households with happy stories.
The fact is that with poverty comes dire public health issues. In our next report from the field, we dig deeper into rural Africa to see how an organization called Solar Sister is using clean energy not just for reliable electricity, but to improve women's lives economically, for healthier families and a healthier future.
Governments around the world are taking action to make a positive climate impact at home and abroad. An impressive new initiative, launched by the US Department of State, is helping lead the way. Called the Partnership on Women's Entrepreneurship in Renewables, or W-Power, it hopes to empower women across Africa to become entrepreneurs, deliver appropriate clean power solutions, and in turn help eradicate extreme poverty by driving green growth at the local level.
I'm Wanjira Mathai. I am the director of the W-Power project, which is a new initiative, the US State Department with a group of partners, SSB, India, CARE International, the Greenbelt Movement, Women for Women International. And we're trying to see how we can catalyze the work of these partners who are working already in clean energy, in involving women in the entire value chain of clean energy, and seeing how we can make sure that, one, people begin to use clean energy solutions, but also begin to create entrepreneurship opportunities around them.
The daughter of Nobel Prize winner Wangari Maathai. She is helping to lead a revolution in how women in Africa create jobs for themselves in the emerging clean energy economy.
One of the things W-Power is doing is looking at the critical role of women in the clean energy solution, in the entrepreneurship, but also in the proliferation of them, people to use them. And the clean energy solutions go from cook stoves, which are the technologies, to the fuels, which could be around biomass fuels, to solar solutions.
According to the International Energy Agency, globally over 1.3 billion people are without access to electricity. and 2.6 billion people are without clean cooking systems. They rely on highly polluting fire hearths like these for cooking, and dirty kerosene lanterns for lighting. But African women, like Mathai, are working to change this.
The kerosene lantern that was in her home, that's what they use for lighting. So the opportunity, again, to integrate multiple solutions, solar solutions for lighting, clean cook stoves for cooking, cleaner fuels, and more efficient cooking solutions to reduce emissions. That's the integrated approach that we're trying to promote.
Promotion means selling. And what better way than a sorority-like sisterhood appropriately called Solar Sister? Like the successful Tupperware parties of the 20th century, these women sell their products to one another, passing along the benefits by word of mouth and demonstrating the effectiveness of these technologies in their daily lives. Here in Muada, Tanzania, Hilaria Alois cycles to her group on a bicycle she earned by selling hundreds of small-scale solar systems and clean cook stoves.
Kwanza imejulikana hata Marekani. Nimepata marafiki, vile vile imeniongezea kipato. Na hata ninapotembea barabarani, nimetambulika kwa maana mjasiriamali. Utakuta hata sasa hivi nilipotoka nyumbani, una hiki wakati nipo kwenye mzunguko huu nimepigia pia na watu kama wawili wanahitaji sola. Kwa hiyo imenifanya nimekuwa niko busy muda wote.
This is not a giveaway plan by foreign governments to uplift Africa like so many others, but a working business system driven by individual women throughout East Africa. Solar Sister Director Fatma Muzo explains how this innovative solution to Africa's most intractable problems has spread so quickly.
Solar Sister eradicates energy poverty by empowering women and in economic opportunities through clean energy business. Energy poverty in Tanzania and in the African context, it's all about people or communities who are not connected with the electric grid. They don't have power for lighting and even energy for cooking. Previously, she has cows, she has a house, she has farms, but she was not connected with any power for lighting and cooking stoves. For now, since she became Solar Sister, she got solar lamps for her home lightings and improved cook stoves for cooking. So that's how we help such communities in lifting up out of energy poverty.
Energy poverty is the term used to describe households that lack access to electricity and clean cooking solutions. The only way to light a rural household like Opportunity Williams in Babati, Tanzania, was with kerosene. The US National Institute of Health says this dangerous fossil fuel emits carbon monoxide, nitric oxide, and sulfur dioxide, all of which may contribute to cancer, asthma, or lung infections such as tuberculosis. The Mundi Business Index estimates that more than 100,000 barrels of kerosene per day are used in Africa, and most of that is burnt indoors at night. The US Energy Information Administration estimates that 1 barrel of kerosene produces 904 pounds of carbon dioxide in its emissions. So just the kerosene component of energy poverty in Africa contributes roughly 90 million pounds of carbon dioxide every day. Where some see catastrophe, Solar Sisters see an immense opportunity to cut these harmful emissions, save money, and in turn make people healthier and wealthier.
The demand for kerosene in Tanzanian communities or in the areas where we operate has dropped just because solar lamps has taken the place of kerosene lanterns. So you can find even the demand for kerosene in some families has dropped, and even if you visit them, you'll find that the kerosene lanterns have become old with full of dust. They are no longer useful. They just keep them aside.
Since they started last year, Solar Sister has recruited, trained, and mentored 850 Solar Sister women entrepreneurs who have brought clean energy to over 170,000 people, whilst driving down the petroleum industry's corner on the energy market.
So the integrated solution goes through the solar, and Solar Sister is doing an incredible job of already driving the solar solutions agenda at the grassroots with ordinary women selling to each other solar solutions. There couldn't be anything more powerful than that.
Solar lights change everything, allowing children to study late without dirty kerosene. In some places, the kerosene economy has collapsed completely because so many women have bought lights from solar sister entrepreneurs like Teresia Bagoyo.
Yaani nimepata faida kubwa sana. Zile hela ambazo nilikuwa nazinunulia mafuta ya taa zikawa zinanisaidia hata mimi pia kununulia chumvi na matumizi mengine aina mbalimbali. Yaani nilikuwa na watoto wa kwangu tu niliowazaa ni wako 8, alafu na wajukuu ambao naishi nao hapa ndani ya nyumba hii wako 4. Hizi taa nazitumia kwa kusomea.
Her grandson is studying by the light of a solar lamp that also charges cell phones, which she does for a fee for her neighbors to make extra money.
Yaani wanafurahi sana, wameepukana na koroboi ile ambayo tunawekea mafuta ya taa, mara nyingine imemwagika, mara nyingine imezimika tu, mafuta ya taa yameisha hapa katikati. Sasa namna ya kwenda kuyachukua tena dukani, hela hakuna mfukoni.
The Solar Sisters are also pioneering a new approach to cooking solutions, selling clean burning cook stoves like this one, along with their high-tech solar lighting and power solutions. The stoves use less wood, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and help keep healthy forests standing. The stoves are now their best-selling product, and all the Solar Sisters are starting to use them in their own homes, explains Solar Sister entrepreneur Opportunia William.
Mara ya kwanza mimi nilikuwa na moyo hafifu wa kuchukua. Akachukua dada yangu yuko hapo mbele, ndio nikapata motisha, pamoja na kuwa ni mimi nilikuwa nauza, lakini nilipata motisha wa kuchukua ile jiko kwa ajili ya kuona mfano wa kwanza kwa huyo mjasiriamali. Nilemuuzia huyo mjasiriamali mteja, yani mteja.
Now she uses less than a third of the wood she used to.
Nilikuwa napika na mzigo mmoja ule napika siku 2, lakini tokea nimepata hili jiko, ule mzigo wa shilingi 1000 napika wiki nzima.
This efficiency revolution is sweeping across Uganda, Kenya, and Nigeria. The main problem is keeping the products in stock. Solar Sister entrepreneurs buy stock from Solar Sister and then sell it with a 5 to 10% markup, offering a 2-year guarantee and the after-sales service. Due to high demand, they regularly sell out.
We're seeing the demand outstrip the supply. Once people know these stoves are there, they can't believe they never knew about it. The same thing with the solar solutions. As soon as we get those connections going, because the distance between the solutions and these women is the gap we must fill, and that's where W Power comes in. Because women are getting together and they're telling each other what's working.
According to the Solar Sister entrepreneurs, this year-old project is already transforming their lives and the lives of the people around them.
Nitawaelezea kwamba inatakiwa mwanamke wa Kiafrika au wa Kimarekani awe mjasiriamali wa kuweza kuuza sola mahali popote pale bila uoga, ili wengine wawapate kuneemeka faida ya Solar Sister. Nimeshapanua wigo sana. Sio mimi tu nimekaa na ujasiriamali, nimewapa na wengine faida, ili na wao waendeleze na faida, wapate hela kidogo.
Kwanza pesa niliyokuwa natumia kununulia mafuta ya taa imerudi kwenye biashara nyingine. Na faida ninayopata kutokana na hizo Solar Sister imeweza kubadilisha maisha yangu. Nimekuwa mfugaji wa kuku wa kienyeji na wasili. Na katika kilimo nimeongeza maeneo ya kulima kutokana na hii biashara ninayoifanya.
A lot of people wonder why women? Why is W Power targeting women? Well, women are disproportionately affected by the impacts of climate, by the impacts of inefficient cooking. Women are a strategic imperative for us in the W Power project. It is not by accident. We're targeting women because we know we will succeed.
Our climate reality impacts each and every one of us. And so, for 24 hours of reality, we wanted to get out on the streets and talk to everyday people about this cause. And as good luck would have it, our green man on the street happens to be quite a popular fellow. Let's go to Ian Somerhalder.
Hey everyone, it's Ian Somerhalder, your green man on the street. I am in New York City right now, where the United Nations is getting ready to go into General Assembly, where this year there will be a massive focus on the issue of climate change. So I'm here to take a bite out of the green apple, to generally assemble and talk to people about a subject that always renews me: hope. How important is this environmental effort to you?
extremely important.
Why?
Because I don't want my children to grow up and have all these issues to worry about. I think it's like my generation's job to take control of the situation and do better.
Yeah.
And I don't want like my grandchildren to grow up and then be like, oh, like needing water and like looking for water. Like I don't want to be like it to be an issue to find resources that come so easily to us now.
So you're gonna do that now, right?
Of course.
Promise?
I think you swear.
Think you swear? Yeah. Hey, question for you.
Yes.
Where do you work?
I'm a makeup artist. I work everywhere.
Do you?
I do.
What do you think? What can you do at your work to make the world cleaner and greener?
Well, for me, it's really about using less disposables. A lot of times, just for sanitation reasons, I use 1 million mascara wands a day, 1 million lip gloss wands a day. So really using my actual brushes, cleaning off my brushes instead of kind of going for the disposables could really help.
So it just takes a little more time, a little more preparation.
Absolutely.
By the way, we're talking about all this stuff for you, little lady.
Absolutely.
So we can leave this place better for you. Does that sound cool? Yep. She agrees. So you're from Kentucky, right?
Yes, yes. Louisville.
Louisville, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country.
It's very nice.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Coal.
Right.
I'm sure you know a lot about it.
Yeah.
Anything specific?
Anything specific? Coal has been, it's been a moneymaker for the state of Kentucky, but it's not been very good for people's health, and it causes a lot of pollution. My stance on coal is that it could be a lot better. I think there are better ways to gather energy, yeah.
We've definitely been retiring some coal-fired power plants, and I think a big thing people are saying is, well, what all these people that they're going to do that work in the coal industry? There's 2 million people in the coal industry, right?
Okay.
Well, we know that alternative energy can create jobs.
Yeah.
We know that for a fact, and we can get the same amount of energy from renewables. We know that.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, because that's the big thing. That's why they hold, that's one reason why they keep holding on to it, because the job thing, right? So if you can do that, then that'll calm people down and make people happy. You'll have a lot of families in Kentucky that are great people that depend on it for their livelihood, but would love to have a better way.
Every movement has its moment. This is ours. So I'm dedicating a day to do my part. I'm dedicating a day to make a difference. It's time to stand up and stop climate change and turn the solutions that we have into the clean energy future that we want. So come join me. Go to 24hoursofreality.org and help me spread the word by hashtagging the word climate hope.
While we are seeing remarkable progress in energy storage, thanks to the march of technology, there are others who prefer to maintain the dirty status quo of fossil fuels. The Climate Reality Project has worked with millennial documentary filmmaker Vanessa Black to examine some of the top carbon polluters and key climate deniers in the United States and how they are working to stall action on climate change. In this episode of the series Youth Fuel, she travels to Arlington, Virginia, to peek behind the curtain of one organization that is on a mission to oppose any regulation that would work to put the brakes on carbon pollution. Americans for Prosperity might sound nice, but in fact, this organization has vowed to oppose all climate legislation. As we know, that's clearly no ticket to prosperity. And as we and other nations continue to pay the high price of carbon pollution today with extreme weather and its economic toll. Take a look as we investigate the real purpose of the group that calls itself Americans for Prosperity and the dark money that mysteriously fuels their mission, including their opposition to the EPA's regulation of greenhouse gas emissions and the pledge they asked congressional candidates to sign, vowing that if elected, they would refuse to support action to help solve climate change.
Conservative group Americans for Prosperity brought its regulation reality tour to Grand Junction. Organizers told the crowd that the EPA plan would hurt businesses and drive up costs for consumers.
Americans for Prosperity. Sounds good, right? Let's dig a little further. In 2008, Americans for Prosperity circulated a no-tax climate pledge that vowed to oppose any legislation relating to climate change that included a net increase in state or local government revenue. Why would they do this? What are their motives? And who's in charge of Americans for Prosperity? We went to their headquarters in Arlington, Virginia to find out. Black. I'm a filmmaker and an activist, and I'm traveling around America to find out more about our biggest polluters and climate change deniers. We're going into Americans for Prosperity. For Americans for Prosperity? It's not? Oh, why don't they list it? I'm not sure. That's interesting. We've heard a term thrown around called dark money, but what does that mean?
Dark money is money spent by corporations, other donors who remain anonymous.
We asked Kurt Davies from Climate Investigation Center about the purpose of Americans for Prosperity and who's behind the organization.
Americans for Prosperity is an organization founded by the Koch brothers.
According to an August 2010 article called Covert Operations by the New Yorker magazine, Americans for Prosperity was started in 2004 by David Koch. And according to a study released in 2010 by Amherst Political Economy Research Institute, Koch Industries ranks 13 on toxic 100 air polluters in the US index, and ExxonMobil comes in at number 4.
It is a political organization aimed at blocking federal regulation.
Americans for Prosperity are an organization that wants to have a public face, except the face that they want to show to the public is not their real face. The face that they want to show is that they are a grassroots, almost citizen-led organization that exists in order to try and help the ordinary frustrations of Americans become known. Now, that's not true. The reality is that they are an organization that are funded and very closely controlled by the Koch brothers that work to advance issues that actually benefit the Koch brothers financially.
It gives them a way to do grassroots, or we would call it astroturf campaigning. They go state to state. They can get out in public and be a public face on the campaign. The Supreme Court gave the EPA authority to regulate greenhouse gases under the Clean Air Act. Americans for Prosperity. They thought that was the end of the world.
I'm Tim Phillips, president of Americans for Prosperity. We're here in Billings, Montana, on leg 3 of our hot air tour. I hear you're a local agitator, Eric, on our free market issues. Is that right?
Absolutely. They went around the country trying to scare people, frankly, into thinking that the EPA was this new draconian bureaucracy that was going to impact their lives. The ads are super emotional.
My husband has been a coal miner since 1994. In the past 6 years, my husband has been laid off 3 times. The war on coal is a war on working class families.
And many of their ads are about how your own life will be impacted. You will be forced to do something you don't want to do.
Hey, I'm trying to get in touch with Tim Phillips. Although I couldn't get them on the phone, they responded to my email by stating they're an organization focused on economic issues and they don't take a position on climate change. But how is that true with their marketing?
One of Americans for Prosperity's tactics was to go out into House of Representative elections, senatorial elections, and get candidates to pledge that when they got elected, they would do nothing on climate change. They would never touch the issue of climate change. It was kind of drawing a line in the sand for these people before they even got to Washington.
They would say that you want to get rid of coal, this is a war on coal, and that sort of becomes, well, this is just anti-business, this is anti-American. And that has been a talking point for a while, that basically the things we need to do to address climate change are un-American.
They continue to attack through working with allies like ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, and other local groups, and the State Policy Network, attack anything green that emerges at a state level, whether it's renewable energy policy or carbon counting, anything that is getting closer to sane climate policy, they will attack. This is the fundamental thing. Americans for Prosperity are hardcore climate deniers.
They're not using science. There's not a science-based argument to be made there. There is strong, compelling scientific evidence that this is happening, that it's human-caused, and that we need to do something about it to avoid dire consequences.
They are increasingly becoming more of an electoral organization, spending millions in our elections to defeat politicians who don't agree with the Koch agenda.
It's 75% of the American public believe that we're on the wrong track in terms of there being too much money in our elections, And what that means is that they don't have a voice.
Americans for Prosperity is a dark money group. It's a 501c4, and it has been running a lot of ads that it classifies as issue ads in light of climate change.
But a lot of it is spent on ads to get candidates elected who essentially will vote against the climate change policies. Americans may see an ad on TV. They don't know where that money's coming from, who's sponsoring that ad. If they knew this was money coming from the energy industry in order to support policies that benefit the energy industry's bottom line as opposed to dealing with climate change, they might have a different view.
There are so many corporations who are in favor of a carbon tax and you know, politicians on both sides. Everybody knows that it makes sense to tax carbon in some way. Not only the revenue generation, but just how you start to ratchet down something that's bad, that is carbon in the atmosphere. As you tax it, you put a price on it.
Americans for Prosperity are in fact backed by some corporations and individuals who have a very specific agenda. And ultimately, their intentions are politically and economically motivated with a goal to oppose regulations in favor of climate control and environmental responsibility. We all live in this world. Why would we want to oppose regulations to help keep it safe for future generations? Join the growing movement to solve the climate crisis and fuel a cleaner future.
There's so much more to come on 24 Hours of Reality, including another of former Vice President and Climate Reality Project founder Al Gore's reasons to have hope, conversations with the World Bank's Dr. Jim Kim, Bradley Whitford, Reed Hunt, Counselor to the President John Podesta, and Lieutenant General Russell Honoré. More from our green man on the street, Ian Somerhalder. More field reports you need to see. And music from Jason Mraz, Colby Calais, and Jack Johnson. You can see all of the highlights of 24 Hours of Reality starting later tonight at 24hoursofreality.org. As we spend the day looking at the solutions that exist to reduce carbon pollution and how they can benefit us all, some simple questions might come to mind, like, why haven't we acted yet to solve climate change? Why not embrace clean, renewable energy? We think those are pretty great questions. And as the United Nations prepares to convene a special meeting of the world's leaders to collaborate on negotiating a new agreement that can ensure a clean energy future, it's a perfect time to pose some questions. And who is better at asking those simple but tough questions than children? The Climate Reality Project launched a campaign to hear from the world's young people in their own words. After all, they are the ones with the most to lose and the most to gain. So it's only natural that they would have a few pointed questions for their leaders. Let's listen.
My name's Amy Farrah and I live in England.
Hi, I'm Aiden and I'm from Hong Kong.
Hi, my name's Molly and I live in Malaysia.
Hi, I am Mika from South Africa.
I live in Croatia.
I live in Auckland, New Zealand. And I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
From South Africa.
From France. From the United States.
United States. From Mongolia.
From Malaysia.
From Dubai.
From Romania.
From Mexico City.
From the Philippines. From India.
From India.
Western Australia.
So my question for all world leaders is this.
And my question to the government bodies is?
My question to the UN is?
And I guess the first thing I want to say. The first question I want to ask.
My question is? My question.
My question. My question.
My question.
I'd like to question.
I would like to ask.
I'm asking members of the UN.
Why do you sit here and pretend?
Why are we letting companies freely pollute the atmosphere?
Why are you allowing the palm oil industry to destroy Malaysian rainforests?
Why do global economic policies consistently stimulate and encourage reliance on burning fossil fuels?
Why is there no more emphasis on developing a generation who can take responsibility for the causes of climate change?
Why, in South Africa, a country overflowing with sunlight, don't we use solar panels?
Why not countries with similar consumption formulate region-specific laws and targets for the next decade?
Why not to put pressure on these companies to change their methods?
Why don't governments start creating sustainable modes of transport?
Para preservar o bem mais precioso que existe no planeta.
Why not change our focus, leave animosity and hatred and competition behind?
Why not incentivize people to use energy more efficiently?
Why not invest more resources in communities?
Why not strive to reduce carbon emissions?
Everyone has a stake in what happens to our planet.
The global problem requires a global solution.
It's time to act. So what are you waiting for?
11 million views already, and that was only hour 15. See you in hour 16.